Welcome, everyone, to the Borough of Swissvale Council Agenda Meeting for April 22nd, 2024. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. Let's go through our roll call. Miss Alfonso Wells.
Here.
Mr. Miser.
Here.
Mr. Haynes.
Present.
Mr. Quinn.
Present.
Miss Stribling.
Present.
Miss Brittany Swartzwelder.
Here.
And Mayor Swartzwelder.
Here.
And just before we move on to the next item, I just want to say publicly, as we had announced in previous meetings, we had moved this meeting to attempt to accommodate the celebration of Passover for our Jewish residents. Unfortunately, we erred in that process by moving it. We placed it squarely in front of the traditional Seder meal, probably the highlight, I know, the peak of many's Passover celebrations. So we're trying to streamline tonight's meeting to try to reduce that inconvenience that we've caused. So some of our usual business, like departmental reports, are going to be bumped to next week's regular in-person meeting. So with that, let's go ahead and move through the meeting. Public comment, we don't have any submitted. So we're going to just jump immediately down to item 4, a presentation by Mr. Jim Bonner with Birdtown, Pennsylvania. So Mr. Bonner, you can go ahead and have the floor.
Great. Well, good afternoon. Thank you so much for allowing me to join your meeting. Sarah, I'm not sure what all you may have shared with people, and I don't want to repeat anything too much, but if you're actually able to share screen, I have a very, very short PowerPoint I can run through for you.
Yep, you're good to go. Go ahead and share whatever you'd like.
Great. Well, first of all, thank you again for allowing me to be here. I'm with the Audubon Society of Western Pennsylvania. We are an environmental education and conservation engagement organization based here in Allegheny County and been around since 1916. Most of the people are familiar with us from our Beechwood Farms Nature Reserve location over in Fox Chapel, through which we do about 16,000 students a year in field trips and education programs. For a number of years, dating back to 2018, we've been sponsoring and operating a certified backyard habitat program where we encourage people to make improvements around their home and in their outdoors and using native plants and a variety of other things to make their yards a little more bird and pollinator friendly. It's been very, very popular. We have over 1,000 people enrolled. And I did check right before the meeting, 17 people in the 15218 zip code. I'm not sure if they're all within Swissvale or not. And 7 of them have already achieved their certification process. And they join about 45 other members we have, most likely in your community. While we were running this program, we also wanted to take it up a level and develop a community recognition program for communities that take steps to make their municipality more bird-friendly, more habitat-sensitive, again, just a nicer place to live. And we started developing our own program, and at the same time, there was a program on the eastern part of the state called Birdtown, PA. It had gone through a few changes, and we started negotiating and talking with them, and they adopted some of our protocols that we wanted. We adopted some of theirs and agreed that a statewide, commonly branded program would be much stronger. And so that got us to Birdtown, Pennsylvania, and we've recently, past few weeks, signed a memorandum of understanding to be the Western Pennsylvania coordinator for the program. At the same time, I was fortunate enough to go out and seek a little bit of grant money to help us run the program and make some resources available to communities here in Western PA. Its mission is to work with municipalities and like-minded organizations to promote community-based conservation actions to create a healthier, more sustainable environment for birds, wildlife, and people. Right now, it's been around for about 12 years, but based almost exclusively in southeastern PA. there are now 50 municipalities that are enrolled in the program. And as you can see, the listing there, all the counties, most of them are over there around Philadelphia, with the exception of Wellsboro there in Tioga. They snuck in not too long ago. So why focus on birds? Birds are an important part of our ecosystem. They eat hundreds of tons of insects every year. They help clean up, roadkill and other things that are around. They disperse seeds and provide pollination services. They even, keep some of the rodent populations in check. They bring joy and beauty to our lives. And the old adage about a canary in a coal mine is as true now as it's ever been. The things that impact birds, they're a precursor to things that are going to be a problem for us. So watching them and taking care of them helps us take care of ourselves. As importantly, they are super, super popular. I can't stress that enough. If I could ask for a show of hands, I would bet half of you have bird feeders in your backyard or bird houses, or in some other way are engaging with birds. You certainly probably have a lot of bird art around your home. 1 in 6 people, according to the federal government, identify as a bird person. And in the Northeast, particularly here in New York and Pennsylvania, 1 in 4 people. It's second only to gardening as a top pastime in the US. And their appeal crosses every demographic. Whether you're talking age, gender, socioeconomic, religious, yes, even politics. I find bird people everywhere. And it enables me to talk about a lot of other things because we have common ground around birds. Birdtown addresses some of the challenges that are facing birds in a number of different ways. There's engagement, there's education, encouragement and support, inspiration, and promoting awareness. And they do this through a whole host of things, whether it's holding native plant pop-up gardens, installing demonstration native plant and pollinators and rain gardens, to education programs and helping to reduce window strikes and pesticide use. All these things that help make our environment nicer can kind of be rolled up into Birdtown and give the municipality the credit for helping to achieve these things. And so really, it's a statewide structured program with common goals. The 50 communities that are already involved, there are newsletters, there's forums, there's in-person meetings, there's digital programs every month around it. So it's a great way to network and learn what other communities are doing to help make their municipalities a little more environmentally sound. We have training sessions and workshops, and then opportunities for obtaining funding to do some of the programs. Now, Birdtown up to now on the eastern side has been an all-volunteer effort. Here with ASWP, I'm fortunate that we have a staff of about 20 people in all different fields, whether it's our education staff or our conservation staff, our birding people, all who have different resources and skill sets that they can bring to help the community. We're heavily involved, as I mentioned, with our backyard habitat program, but there are a number of other ones. To participate in the program doesn't mean you only have to do ASWP things. We hope you will, but there's certainly a number of different habitat programs that are available for people to participate in. Again, I mentioned networking opportunities. There are bi-monthly newsletters for the leaders. There's the Bird Beat, which is for anyone who wants to be involved with it. There is a Facebook page and forums for people to connect with, to share what they're doing, learn best practices, and try to implement them in their community. Also been creating clutches. Yes, we like a lot of bird puns. And so communities that are near each other get together to do some regional programming and try to develop things that cross municipal boundaries. It's one thing about wildlife, they don't respect geopolitical borders. And so we try to work hard to have people working across and throughout communities. There's 5 strategic areas. There's municipal action, and that's what you guys would have direct control over, how you're managing borough properties, practices, ordinances, resolutions you may be doing. There's work with school districts and other youth-related education work. Fortunately, we already have a great relationship with the Woodland Hills School District, and they've been coming on field trips to our locations. And we're about to be putting in, I believe, a outdoor garden, outdoor habitat, school ground habitat at one of the elementary schools sometime later this spring. There's community and individual engagement, and that's where you get homeowners and other people that are living in the community to take action. That could be a backyard habitat. That could be trying to reduce window strikes on their homes. It could be putting in pollinator and other type of plants in their yards. Then there's things that go on with other organizations. We love collaboration, so there are business owners and other civic groups that we get involved. And then there's advocacy. And when I use advocacy, usually I think of that as being education, making people aware of the things that are going on, hopefully inspiring them and empowering them to take action. It is a 4-tiered program. You start at the green level, and that's by passing a resolution to join and filling out some paperwork and establishing a committee. And then you can move up through 3 different levels by achieving points in different strategy areas. In meeting with Sarah, we already identified several things that you've done that you can already get credit for. I wouldn't be surprised if you're quickly into the bronze and probably onto the silver level. And then we can look at things to help get you all the way up to gold. It's a pretty simple process to get started. I've already shared the toolkit with Sarah. You need to identify a committee. It could be an existing group. I know you have a shade tree committee, but you might, for some communities, it's their environmental advisory council. For others, it's just a newly formed group. You pass a resolution to support Birdtown, and I provided a sample one that you can use and modify as you see fit or as your solicitor wants. There's a one-time registration fee, which I'm happy to say ASWP can cover through the grant monies we received. You complete the application and submit it to us to review and approve. And that gets you started. Very quickly, there's the other charts that I provided that have goals and activity worksheets in all those different strategic areas. One of my staff would sit down with your committee, go through there, identify the ones that are already done, prioritize ones that you might want to do. I look at our role as being the facilitator. We're not going to tell you what to do. We can tell you what you can do, and then work with you to identify the things that are best suited for your community. You'll get a welcome packet that has some nice certificates, signs. Signs are always important. With some window clings and some other things to get you started. I understand you are working on a new borough building, so the signs will look great on your entry door. And so thank you for that, and I would be happy to entertain any questions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bonner. I know a couple of us were at your presentation at ALAM, which was great. I mean, we have it slated to discuss the resolution today and potentially pass it as early as next Wednesday. So trying to stay ahead of that process, and I think it's something we're excited about, and I think it's a great. I never would have considered myself a bird person until we've got a robin that has a nest in one of our hanging planters in the back in our back porch, and so I've really enjoyed just sitting and watching the mama bird.
Yeah, there's, they bring such joy to people. They're learning experience. They're calming. They're good for your blood pressure. They're good for your mental health, your physical health, and the health of your community. So I'm excited that you're excited about it. I will share that several other communities are equally excited. I had a conversation with Wilkinsburg today, and they're planning on moving ahead with this. Millville passed a resolution the week after my presentation. They didn't even wait for a sample, and a few others. So I'm excited how well it's being received. I really look forward to working with you guys.
Yeah, I'm really excited about not only bringing it to the municipality as a whole, right, as a borough, but also to get our citizens involved because I think so many of them already look at birds and are excited. And even if you're like new to it, like me, I mean, you hear them out there all night. It's baby bird season. But it's so exciting to actually refresh yourselves by thinking about it. And then I'm just excited thinking about the neighbors getting involved, right? And maybe doing some community activities around the birding. And of course, what we all want is the sign. We want the sign.
Yeah, I would say it is infectious in a good way. And we always laugh that most people don't know they're a bird person yet. And once they've had some exposure that they become one. And once you are one, you stay one. And we laugh because we say you can bird anywhere. We're leading some walks right now at Duquesne University for college students, and you can bird right down in downtown Pittsburgh, up on the bluff. And they've already got 35 species, I think, from right up there, which is pretty darn impressive, for an inner city park. And I think I shared during the presentation that we planted milkweed at the convention center a few years ago, and they had monarch butterflies within 2 months up on the fourth floor garden. So nature's all around us, and we can embrace it.
Are there any other questions from council? Well, Mr. Bonner, thank you so much for taking the time for your presentation with us tonight.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
You too. So we're going to move down to we have 2 agenda items. This is under category 5. The first is discuss hiring of a police administrative assistant. Go ahead,
So
Greg.
we can vote on that next week if you want to. I mean, we conducted 2 interviews, and I think we're going to meet in an executive session after this meeting to discuss further. If council's ready to make a decision, it's on this agenda, so we can vote if you're interested in voting next week.
All right, we'll move on to item B, which is discuss Birdtown, Pennsylvania.
The only action on that would be to pass a resolution if you were interested in participating.
Such
And
a
I believe
fantastic
Sarah has already
idea.
obtained a resolution that's been drafted.
Yeah, I think most of us who were in on when he gave the presentation, I guess a fuller presentation probably, at the ALOM conference, we were very impressed. And it's such an easy thing to do, right? You basically have to breathe. And as long as you're breathing, you can become part of Birdtown and then do some extra steps. So I'm just really, really excited about this. I think it's fantastic. Who doesn't love, I mean, there are some birds that are a little hard to love, but most of them are very, are very sweet. And you can look at backyard dramas as the bluebird comes through. It's always a drama. So I'm very, very excited about this. Can't wait to vote on it.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I'm excited about, getting engaged with it, getting the community hopefully engaged with it. And to Sean's point, I love all birds except for the pigeons under the underpass there at Church and Braddock. Those are the only ones I don't care for.
And I'll say that approving this and going forward, we'll have to figure out what the committee is going to look like, if it's going to be part of an existing community or if we're going to create a new one. But I think it fits very well. A lot of the goals is beyond just birds, but it's climate action. A lot of this fits with what we've been trying to do with climate action, overlaps there. So, and native species, the pollinator garden, there's just a lot of crossover from things, which is, as Mr. Bonner said, we probably think you've got to be green for a year before you can, be moved up. But I think we already have what would be necessary to be bronze from some of the stuff we're already doing. So I think this will bring a lot of it together.
And the most exciting part is Sarah said she will take and run with this, and I have to do nothing.
It's true. The resolution names her as the executor of this or representative of
Yes,
this.
it does.
And what Mr. Bonner said is there's no cost to the borough for us to do this. The Audubon Society has already pledged that they will cover the $100 initiation fee, which is great.
And I even think that from what he said at his presentation, that there's even money for for some of our citizens with limited funds, they actually have a grant for them too. So if they wanted to participate, there's a way for every single member of our community to be able to participate, even if they don't have a lot of means. There are things that can be provided for them. So this, I think, is just wonderful. One of those ideas that just reaches across everything, and everybody can take part in it.
All right. Sounds good. Well, let's move on to our departmental reports. I know I said we were going to be bumping those, but we just wanted to create space if there was something that was time sensitive that a department needed to report on before next Wednesday to give space. So I'll just touch base on all of those. And if you have nothing, you can just say pass till next week. So we'll start with Police Chief Watson.
The only thing I had was last week, the individual who committed the double homicide on Sailor Place of Megan and Layla Campbell was convicted of 2 counts of first-degree homicide and will never get out of prison. So, although that's we expressed our condolences to the family. It's a very terrible incident for our community, but the individual who did it will never get out of prison. So that's all I have, Mr. President.
Let's move on to Code and Fire, Chief Wilhelm.
Oh, I'm sorry. There we go. I have nothing of relevance that needs to be addressed at this meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sure. We'll keep moving right on. Public Works, Mr. D'Ambrosio.
I have nothing.
Okay. Moving right along, Manager's Report, Mr. Batchy.
I'll defer to next week.
Okay. President's Report, I just need to note that we met in executive session before this meeting. We will be continuing our executive session following this meeting, and I just want to wish a happy Passover to all of those who are observing beginning this evening. Let's move on to the Solicitor, Mr. Mangelo.
Nothing for me. Thanks everyone for having me tonight, though.
Yeah, thank you for being here in Mr. McTiernan's stead. Any other new business that we need to discuss?
Just make sure that everybody knows that tomorrow is the day that we're voting. It is April 23rd. So tomorrow, Tuesday, April 23rd, you should get out the vote. If you have a mail-in ballot, it has to be brought down. I mean, I thought it could be brought to one of those satellite locations. Yes, no, you should bring it downtown. If you have, and it has to be received by tomorrow at the time that the polls close. So if you have a mail-in ballot, you need to make sure that you get that to our downtown location. They will take it, they will accept it, they will process it. It's really quick and easy. Get off at 2nd Street and they literally will have you park, put on your hazards. You run in because they need to see the person. It's individual. You can't bring it down for people. You have to bring your own. You smile, you get your little voting sticker, and you go. And for those of you who are not voting by mailing in your ballot, make sure that you go to your polling place tomorrow. They will be in the same locations unless your polling place was in a synagogue. Then you need to make sure you find out where your new polling place is temporarily for this particular month.
And just to add to Sean, the polling places are the same in Swissville for our district as they always have been. They open at 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. If you're in line at 8 p.m., stay in line and make sure you cast your vote.
And I just wanted to take the time really quick to wish my fellow council member and AKA my mom a very happy 21st birthday today. I love you so much, Mom, and I truly appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you all.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Thanks for spending. This is just one big party for you, Angela.
Absolutely. I'm thrilled.
All right. Well, if there's no other new business, I'd love to entertain a motion to adjourn at 7:25 p.m.
Second.
Motion to adjourn.
We'll take it that way. That's okay. Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, got it.
We're good. We got all in favor of adjourning. Please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. We're adjourned. Good night, everyone.
Happy Passover.
Sir, are we still on YouTube? It still says YouTube on mine.
I'm not sure why. Hold on. Oh, because Greg, I